Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first episode of Top Tang, the place where we interview very cool people in Minecraft. And today we have a very special guest, the creator and sole developer of Aurascope, Nick Oztalk.
Yo, what up? Happy to be here in the game of blocks.
Yeah. Happy to have you. Uh, so, for the very few people who don't know what Aurascope is watching this video, could you give us a summary of what the game is?
Yeah, of course. So it's basically a 2D action adventure platformer, heavily inspired by Mario and Sonic, where you can play however much you want or however much you like, basically. It caters to the individual, whether you're a speedrunner or a casual player. There's something for everybody.
Mm-hmm. And what would you say inspired you to create Aurascope, and was it heavily influenced by your previous game, Power Star Frenzy?
Yeah, so initially Aurascope did start off as a block placing platformer. I was approached by one of my best friends at the time, Jonah Worley. He was the one that pushed me towards being an indie developer. And what started off as a simple puzzle placing platformer where you basically just pick up and move blocks around, kind of, whether it was using your mouse or just which then later on became the Aurascope, and then finally it got completely removed altogether because as time went on, the game started shaping up completely differently, especially adding much more complex moves and ways to chain your abilities and everything, and just the blocks didn't really fit anymore. So as time went on, we removed that. We just focused solely on the movement, but it's just been heavily inspired by Mario and Sonic since then, and it's definitely after a while started really taking shape over my previous Mario fan game, Power Star Frenzy, where it's basically like a Super Mario 63 or Super Mario Galaxy, all wrapped up in a very nice fun package, I guess.
Okay. How big of a role will the story have in the adventure mode? Will player's choice have a big impact, and will there be multiple endings?
So the story is definitely something I really can't wait for everyone to experience. Right now, I got Chow Gardner and Cherry X2 helping me make sure the story it is the best it could possibly be. We are writing different endings. You are going to be able to have different kind of paths and things that can affect the story. Currently, I will not be saying how many endings there are in the game, but there will be multiple. So I'll say that much. But the story is definitely going to play a big role. So of course we're still going to focus solely on the gameplay. That is going to be the main factor here. But we want to make sure the story does feel like you're fighting towards something. Like there is a reason why you're doing all this. It may not start off that way, but as time goes on, the story really starts to take hold and really starts to, I'd say, just really latch on to you. And I really can't wait for everyone to experience that.
Okay, that's really exciting to hear. In addition to the adventure mode, there's also a battle mode and a score scramble mode, and I bet there's probably going to be some other mode. And it adds a lot of replayability to Aurascope. Was there a particular reason why you added these modes to Aurascope?
Oh, yeah, of course. So back then, in my old Mario fan game, back in school, I don't know, there was just a crazy hype going around where we used to just play on our Nintendo DSs and everything like that. And at one point, we were all just talking about how the old games we played, like New Super Mario Bros. Or like Mario Kart DS or all those other ones. So I brought New Super Mario Bros. And we all played Mario versus Luigi again. And it was so much fun. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to add that into my Mario fan game. I'm just going to try. Just you know what? Never decided to do multiplayer before, but there's a first for everything, right? So went ahead, added a multiplayer mode in that Mario fan game. And of course, just because since that was added in the Mario fan game, I have to add this in my actual game. Because, if I was able to do that in a Mario fan game and everything is clearly an enhancement and improvement, Aurascope is just everything that I wanted to do in my Mario fan game, but multiplied by times 10, essentially, making sure that it could be the best it could be and very ambitious while still remaining grounded. But yeah, multiplayer was added in there for that very reason, because I love couch co-op. In a time and age where it seems like couch co-op is kind of dying and everything is focused on online, and while of course I still want to add online to the game, but I feel like it's just so much fun to be able to sit with your friend in the same room and just be able to laugh and mess around with each other while still playing the game. And then for other modes and stuff like that, growing up, playing games like, of course, like New Super Mario Bros. Or like Mario Kart, again Mario Kart
Yeah,
DS,
classics.
or Super Smash Bros. Brawl. You know, all the great games growing up. They always had tons of other side modes, and just like if you just got tired of the main mode or something like that, you can hop into something else and like just play and enjoy the game in a new way. Like Mario Kart DS still remains one of my most favorite games till this day, alongside Mario Kart Wii, just because of how much variety you had in that game at the time. I mean, you had the first ever, you had the versus mode, the battle mode, missions, incredible. And I'm like, I want to make sure that when I'm making my games, that there is plenty of content for you to go around, because anyone can just make one little adventure mode. I feel like it takes effort and dedication to be able to add more to it that you wouldn't even expect in games nowadays. That would probably charge you like another $50 just for something that should have been in the base game to begin with.
Yeah, I agree. This question I just thought of just now, actually. So why not a Metroidvania? Like, Metroidvania games are very similar to platformers, and they're very much a craze right now. So why not a Metroidvania? Why a platformer specifically?
So the reason why, well, I mean, for one, obviously I just love platforms. Mario and Sonic have just been my childhood staple. I have always had the most fun with them. Never really got into Metroid like that as a kid personally. I don't know. I guess it didn't really click with me. I still have, maybe I'll come back to them someday. But for me, I always love the idea of you being able to explore, but not feeling like that it's just, how do I say, it's not to say overwhelming, but I feel like when you have like more little playgrounds and you're able to explore more, because with Metroidvanias, you're able to explore, but there's always a set way you have to technically do things. You have to unlock this ability first before you can get to that area, and so on and so forth, which is nice because, yeah, sure, you get to experience a new area or even the same area in a different way because now you have a new ability to, work with. But I feel like that, especially nowadays, I see so many indie games keep going for a Metroidvania or roguelike specifically, and it's not to be like, oh, I just want to stand out and be different from them, but I've never seen a 2D platformer, or at least take the style of like Mario 64 in a collectathon aspect. And I feel like that's just something that I feel like needs to be done more, because that's just a genre that is so much fun and has so much potential. And I'd love to see more games being able to strive and do that in the near future too. And I hope maybe one day this could be the game that may help do that. So, yeah.
So currently there is close to 30 tracks made by the award-winning composer FinnMK on the YouTube channel. How did you two meet and come to work together, and will there be more tracks for the final release?
Oh, okay. So, all right. So, Finn wasn't the sole composer of Aurascope, actually. So it first started off with Zach Streifel, who was genuinely like a beast. He has created Freeline Ridge, Gusty Groves, the main theme for the game. I feel like, genuinely has created a staple for Aurascope, and unfortunately, due to some real life circumstances, he ended up having to step away from music, or the project, and then music as a whole entirely. And it really sucks, because he genuinely was incredible, and I really hope he's doing well. It's been a while since I've been in contact with him. But as time went on, of course, we couldn't let the flame die out, so had to go and start looking for more people to be able to take on his role, and that was going to be very difficult, because Zach was also the one who did all the sound effects for the game too, on top of that. So that was some very big shoes to fill. And at one point, I mean, before everything turned to hell on Twitter, and it was still a somewhat normal place, I put out a post saying like, hey, we're looking for composers. Anyone, if anyone's interested, send us a DM, and we'll check you out. And Finn was one of the few people that ended up, sorry, I say few, but there was more like almost 24 people that actually ended up sending us DMs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so nearly 24 people, and we ended up settling on Finn because of just the way the way he presented himself, the music style that he had, and I feel like it's something that he could really replicate Aurascope down to a T, since he was already very familiar with the music. Like, he wasn't just starting out, he was, a very reputable composer. I actually didn't know that he had such a following. He has over like 100,000 subscribers on YouTube as well.
Oh, wow, I did not know that.
Yeah, pretty insane. I didn't know about that either. working
Yeah.
with me. I thought another guy, and then look at that, I was like, whoa. But yeah, no, Finn has been making some amazing tracks. So Finn basically contacted us first. We talked a little bit, exchanged a little bit of info. He talked about why he genuinely wanted to, like, for him, of course, like, you know, a job is a job, but he really said that he absolutely adores the way Aurascope plays, and he really wants to be part of this project, even if it meant having him having to accept a lower rate, because, you know, me just being a solo indie developer, you know, I'm not, you know, of course, made of money, and, you know, I'm not a big studio that can afford, like, you know, being able to price how some of these composers that hit us up were like saying, oh yeah, of course, like, you know, we talked to a few of them, and they were saying, yeah, well, $1,000 per song minute. I'm like, huh?
Yeah.
Like, like, you know, just like bewilderment, because I'm like, some people probably just pay those by default. I'm like, I can't afford that. No, on my job, no. So I told Finn at first, like, hey man, I'm sorry. Well, he didn't give me this pricing either. It was still high, but like I still couldn't like afford it at the time or anything. I told him, look, man, I'm sorry. I mean, you're great and all, but I don't think I'd be able to afford you, and I don't feel like it's right for me to, like, you know, I don't want to feel like I'm taking advantage of you or anything like that. And he said, listen, it's okay. I'm more than okay with working for a low rate, because I genuinely believe in this project and I want to be a part of it and help it succeed. And that just really meant the world to me, because Finn's a great guy. He is very dedicated to making sure the music is the best it can be, and he is also very, very patient with how I can critique the song sometimes, because every song for me is something, it's its own art form, and it does take its sweet time to make sure that it sounds good, because there's plenty of other, like, sometimes the song doesn't feel like it fits, or maybe there could be parts of the song that could be adjusted or anything at all like that. And Finn's very patient with me, and I'm happy that he's also like able to work with me, because he says he agrees with a lot of things. He's like, yeah, good, like, that was a nice catch, no, that was a good call there, and so so it's fun to be able to actually work with my composers and anyone else on my team, rather than just feeling like saying that, like, hey, I need you to make a track with this such and such vibe for this course, you know. So it's great. But yeah, we'll definitely expect to see a lot more songs from him in the future. And of course, I can't neglect to mention Alba Soup as well. He's also another one of the composers that ended up reaching out to us too.
Mhm.
And he is definitely someone who is just kind of more, he's been making music for a while, but Finn has more industry experience, I'd say. That Alba Soup is still kind of working his way towards there. And I'm like, I want to give him a shot. I think the one thing is, like, especially is a lot of, like, Jonah, when he first hit me up, he gave me a shot. You know, he just saw, like, I was making a little dumb Mario fan game at the time, and he's like, yeah, this is the guy that I want him to make my future indie game, because all this was originally his idea with his own indie game, and then it kind of turned into something else a lot more. Then we both came up with the idea of Aurascope, and here we are now. But yeah, I always love giving people like a shot, and if I can see potential, I can see dedication, and I want to be able to help encourage them and really be able to get them another look at that fun word, kickstarted towards their career of greatness.
Yeah.
And, Alba Soup and Finn have both been doing phenomenal jobs. Expect to see tons more from them. We had a little joke about this at first, and this might end up becoming a reality. It's at Aurascope, the simple little indie game with a $10,000 soundtrack. So it's definitely looking like it could hit those numbers. I'm not even kidding, with how much music we have planned too for all the other areas and events. So yeah, definitely look forward to that.
Yeah, music is very important. It's like 1/3 of like the game, in a way, like music and sound effects. So yeah.
No, of course, that's what really, like, it amplifies like graphics and of course storytelling, gameplay and such. That's, you know, its own beast, but like music and sound is what really helps drive that factor home. Especially, it can really make the difference, you know, because if you have absolute garbage, you know, it's going to completely hinder the game, even if the game looks as the most beautiful it could possibly be. But if the audio design is garbage, it's going to completely hinder the game.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really important.
Yeah, and yeah, that story was very beautiful, and honestly, like, that's why I think Kickstarter is just like such a great thing, because you can just, like, if you have a project, you have an idea, and people can just come together and you can build a community, and it's just like a really beautiful thing to see people come together around this idea and fund it and support it, and just really just have like a nice community of just really really good-willed people.
No, I completely agree. We actually didn't even intend on doing Kickstarter at first, funny enough.
Oh.
No, I was gonna say initially I was actually gonna like completely game Pocket. That's exactly what was going on for the past few years already. Not to like, I haven't done the numbers yet, but as of right now, or at least as of like the last maybe like half a year ago, I've spent officially over like $28,000 on the project. So
wow.
of just my own money over the course of like almost 5 years, maybe like about 4 years. So just like just from work and just like putting it into the project, like that's because like I'm fully dedicated into it and I want to make sure it succeeds. But as time went on, of course, especially with the Aurascope team growing even larger than it once was, it's kind of hard to like be able to pay like a whole team's worth of people just by working at a at a simple job.
Yeah.
So and at this point, especially one thing we were hesitant when it came to Kickstarter, it was because Aurascope at the time, back in I'd say maybe 2022, like between then and prior, I couldn't really see the game in the long run. Like the way that we had the mechanics set up at the time, we didn't have like a story that I felt like would go with it. There was every time I tried to like sit with Jonah to try and like come up with like more mechanics and everything, it ended up we either get like distracted or we just couldn't find a way to piece together, and it would just like end up being, oh, we'll just figure that part out later. And I just kept saying like, we have to figure this out now. We can't keep putting it behind because it's already been years since we started this project. It's been almost like over over 2.5 years. I feel like we should know what we're doing at this point. And then that's why it was one of the reasons why I didn't feel comfortable going on Kickstarter, because I didn't want to ask people to donate to a campaign when we're not even sure of what the game is supposed to be itself at the time. It just didn't feel right. Because like, of course, there's being able to fund the game, but you want to have a game to fund and you want to see that there's actual like promise, because even if there's potential and everything there, I mean, anything can hit the crap can hit the fan at any given point, and I didn't want that to be the case. But ever since 2023, when Aurascope basically got almost like a semi rework where we completely ditched the original puzzle platforming mechanic and focused solely on like the movement and being able to like a full collectathon aspect, I feel like the utmost confidence in the game that I didn't even feel when I was making my Mario fan game. Like, I truly believe in this project and I want to be able to do everything I possibly can for it. I mean, I've already been destroying my sleep schedule plenty for it, so I mean, it definitely goes to show for it. I'm hoping at least maybe down the line I'll be able to use my brain properly in the future. Let's just hope that I end up in the dementia or something. Let's fingers crossed there.
Fingers crossed. So
I've been at least sleeping better, at least.
Yeah. So like, earlier, like that was when you would place blocks and build your own level, almost, right? Kind of in a way.
Yeah. So just regarding the blocks initially, like the idea was that you would actually use your mouse to like place these different blocks that would give that could harness kind of different abilities. Typically, it started off as just like, you kind of like place and like build the level a little bit at first. Then some of the blocks would like introduce more, I guess, complex things. Like, for instance, one would be like a fan where you'd be able to like, place it and rotate it so that way you can like kind of, it would impact the puzzle aspect a little bit more, where you'd have to like place the blocks in correct areas or like in correct fashions to be able to like move a heavy object or like get rid of an obstacle out of your way. Or like, we had like the bomb blocks as well, where you like, you just use them as explosions to get past like a blockade or something. But as time went on, I realized that just being able to place them wherever you want with your mouse, I feel like was overpowered and didn't make much. I mean, it's not to say it didn't make much sense, but I just felt like there needs to be some type of limitation, because then otherwise there's it's just too easy. There's no challenge, And then that's when the Aurascope came in. That's when the whole idea of was like, you able to like the blocks would then become part of the player's arsenal in a sense of aura. That's where the name Aura Stones also came in too.
Aura
So
Stone?
everything.
Oh,
Aura,
yeah,
yes.
yeah, because that's what the blocks were called. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, but as time went on and we started adding more complex moves, because like, Trace only had just like a jump that you can only go up like basically 2 tiles high. That's as high, or like, yeah, that's about it. His moveset was very, very limited. And then as time went on, and we added a roll, a wall jump, then you got a spin drop. So it was really cool, especially if you like scroll, like if you take a look at like kind of Aurascope's development history, you can like literally see how all these moves started getting added little by little. But then as time went on, then the blocks just didn't fit anymore. Like they just didn't, they felt like they were hindering the gameplay because it was slow. I mean, half the time, even in the old demos, you could just skip past any section even that required you to kind of use the blocks because it was just faster and I'd say more fun.
Mm-hmm.
And even I noticed that too. And I just like said, well, it's a big departure. And even though we spent years kind of like trying to work this mechanic out, there was at the back of my head, I knew this couldn't be sustainable because, you know, how on earth do I feel like am I supposed to like make this work for the entire game? Like what, am I just gonna like make it so that way you have to drop blocks on a boss's head or something like that? Or like, you know, just pause your gameplay at every time? Like how on earth am I supposed to incorporate this in every possible aspect of the game? And I'm like, you know what, let's just remove it. Like I mean, or like not just let's, I mean, I decided like, because Jonah was already like he had other responsibilities IRL that he had to like kind of dedicate more to, and as time went on, he started stepping away from the project more and more until it was just me. But yeah, got rid of the blocks, focused more on the moveset, decided to like give like basically I made the initially like Aurascope still had like this absorb mechanic where you could absorb the blocks and other things like the like coins and other little items, and then that fully became, I'm like, you know what, all the popular games, or at least any good game, when it comes to their mechanic, it requires that like, you know, it's diverse. It can be used in a lot of applications. It's not limited to just one small aspect. It can be used just about anywhere. So I thought, you know what, okay, let's make it so that way this Aurascope can interact with anything, you know, and that is going to be part of the player's arsenal. It is the aura, in fact, interacting with other objects. And then that's where we have the modernized version of it now, where it's effectively part of your moveset and it's used in many different applications, and then still plenty more that I can't wait to showcase, because like that's where all the ideas are happening right now. There's so many like fun applications that I genuinely can't wait to showcase in the future. But yeah, sorry for the blocky rambling, you know, in a blocks in a block game, and then you know, in a blocks in another block game. So like there we go.
It's a lot of blocks, a lot of blocks. I definitely prefer the modern way that it is in Aurascope, like the Aurascope of it all. It's very Aurascope, you know.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself.
But yeah, the platforming is just, it feels a lot more fluid with this new way, instead of the blocks, instead of like having to build it yourself. I really do love it.
Yeah, no, and honestly, we thought about maybe bringing the blocks back at some point, or I keep saying we, but like I want to maybe try and see if I could find a way to like maybe incorporate them in a level, just as like as a fun nod to the original way. You know, I think that'd be really cool. But yeah, now that the game is designed solely off of this Aurascope and like the way that the player's movement works, I feel like it's so much better and just way more enjoyable than the old game ever was. It took time to realize that, but I'm glad I went down this route rather than continue trying to like hammer in a mechanic that I just didn't really mess with anymore at that point. I just didn't like, you know?
Yeah. So next question is, how has player feedback from the demo shaped Aurascope so far?
Well, I mean, you could probably kind of just cut together all that previous info into this question too.
Yeah.
But as player feedback, of course, like for me, player feedback is very important. There's a lot of people who will kind of just like, you know, or even developers that I've known personally that will just kind of disregard feedback, even if it's just like, you know, if it's genuinely good, but because they just didn't want to put in the effort, or, you know, the time, or just they were too snarky about it, or too far up their own fucking, they're too far up their own
Easter.
they're Easter to realize that. But player feedback is really important because that's, of course, helps shape the game. And you want to make sure that something is able to accommodate for as many players as possible. And if you feel like there's something can be improved upon, by all means, improve upon it. It doesn't have to be like reinventing the wheel or anything, but if you know that something can be better, then without it feeling like that it's going to be a hindrance on what was already there, then by all means, push it. So with player feedback, one of the things was initially, of course, with the original Aurascope, using the blocks, it felt like it hindered the gameplay because since it slowed everything down, since the whole thing was already kind of shaping up to like use all these extra movements and tools that you had, these blocks would just slow everything down. So, and because of that, we ended up, completely trying to change the entire Aurascope mechanic and making sure that we can prioritize being able to use more fluid movement. And another aspect was someone mentioned that, Aurora at the time didn't feel like she had as much going on for her. She genuinely just felt like a more weaker or version of Trace, basically, because she didn't have a roll. She wasn't fast. She may have had a little bit of a higher jump, but that at the end of the day doesn't really amount to much when, one character can literally do it all and the other one is just like, still good, but not as good. So, and with that, I'm like, okay, Aurora needs her own ability then. And that's where her double jump came in, because now it actually completely sets them apart. So now while Trace is the one who can traverse the most land, Aurora is the one that can now, traverse the most height.
Yeah.
So I think it makes it a lot more interesting because, like, especially with if you combine Aurora's jumps with the Aurascope, you can go the distance. You can go 3 football fields worth with that. Like, it's insane. And even I was like looking at it, like, oh man, this is kind of overpowered. But like, you know what? I will design the levels around it because this is fun. This is really fun, and I'm gonna keep it. So
yeah, I was trying to get outside of a map on one level, like trying to, like, just with that ability alone, like fucking like just bouncing off of the wall and then yeah, but I couldn't do it. It was it's too well made already. It's too well made.
Well, thanks for saying that, because there's still plenty of things we can do to improve it. But player feedback is very important because that's what helps us. Like, someone mentioned something about Aurora, and that was like one person. That was literally one person. But I had to take an account that because, like, some other people have said like, it's Aurora, but like one person genuinely did not like that Aurora just felt like a really much more weaker version of Trace, and then they voiced their opinion very strongly on it. And like after reading that, I'm like, because for me, I will take into account every single bit of feedback that we get, even if it's something I may or may not do. It's something that I will absolutely take into consideration as much as I can, because as time goes on, maybe this project will become a lot bigger and it's going to be harder to like, see feedback like that. But that helped shape up the game more and make things better. Like, or for instance, if something, could be maybe improved upon within a level. For instance, right now, one of the feedback we had is, maybe it'd be a good idea to like store items in the shop, because like, if you bought an item in the shop and you're trying to do one of the side quests, it requires you to use all slots of your Aurascope. It's not really fair. You just wasted your money, So it's something that improving upon what we have and making sure we listen to the people playing the game properly is very important, and it's going to easily help shape the game and make it even better than it.
Final question.
Final question.
Do you have any advice for future game devs that are just starting out?
Okay. So coming from a guy who had no idea what he was doing and he just kind of, just messed around to see what worked and hope for the best at the time. Don't be afraid to ask other people for help, even if they're like, whether they're small or larger. Always just try and get feedback. Look at forums, look online. Like, it's always great to be able to take inspiration from other projects, because that's clearly what I did and that's continuing to do. And no matter if you feel that, even if you're working on something, if you don't like what you're working with, like even if you feel like you dedicated a lot of time to it but don't force yourself to work with something you don't like. And I guess that kind of honestly can apply to people too, to be fair. But even if you like put a lot of time into like a mechanic or where you were designing something and it's not turning out the way you expect it to be, don't be afraid to rework it. even if it means starting over. It sucks and it's annoying and it's still going to be a tumble, and it could be a little demotivating too. But at the end of the day, if your game, if you don't even like what you're making, how can you expect other people what you're making? You got to be able to enjoy what you do and what your craft is and the time you spend in order to make it to the best it can be. So always just give it your all. Don't be afraid to ask for help, and don't be afraid to start over if it's something you don't like. So yeah, just keep persevering and you'll come up with something that you really enjoy, because no game is just made a 10 out of 10 just like that. It takes years of time, dedication, and of course just figuring things out, mess around with things, create concepts. There's plenty of games where a simple concept that didn't even, like Mario, even just to give a big game, Mario Odyssey, like the capture mechanic where you were able to like take over other enemies and objects didn't come into the game until more than halfway into. They tried it out for one thing, loved it so much, and then they added it as a core feature for the rest of for the entire game. So from Nintendo themselves, just do what you enjoy. That's the best way I can describe it. Make sure you enjoy what you do. So reverse those words around. But yeah, that's the advice I can give.
Yeah, that's really good advice. All right, thank you, Nick, so much for spending time here for this interview. The Kickstarter for Aurascope will be launching tomorrow. Make sure to check out the Discord for the launch party, and have a nice day. Peace.
Thanks again, man. See ya.
Alrighty.
Oh my god. Sick.
Alrighty. Well, I guess now I should say an intro. Oh yeah, I had an intro. Okay, yeah. Alright. I didn't write it down, but I'm gonna say it anyway, just off the top of the dome. Oh shit.
The rain. It's a thunderstorm too. Oh boy. Right on the intro.
Right on the intro.